get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid and whatever the heck this channel's about. Got the snots, just ran 3 miles, only running a few miles this morning because we're hitting the road again today. As hard as it is to do, we're going to be leaving the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and going elsewhere. We might end up in Utah, we might end up in Arizona, we don't know. We wing it and we love it. So I want to talk about a couple of things here today. First, the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch or potential Bigfoot Sasquatches we may or may not have caught on video yesterday. If you saw that video, if you didn't, go watch it. Number one, people have asked, where exactly am I? I'm not going to answer that question, nor will I ever tell you, because the person that led me here, I have given them my absolute 100% confidence that I wouldn't tip anybody off to this location. I had to go considerably out of our way to get here, but after being in personal communication with this person for about 6 months and seeing some information that they've sent, I couldn't not come. And since I did make a video, and part of me coming was an agreement that I was allowed to at least film my activities, and this person didn't want to give me that for a while, so I simply wasn't going to come, and it came down to me almost passing this location before that permission was finally given. But I will keep my word. I will not state specifically where that footage was filmed, and this is why. Was it a Bigfoot Sasquatch? Were they Bigfoot Sasquatches? I believe we picked up multiple entities on that video. I don't know. I don't know what some of these things that we've captured on camera, or that we may or may not have captured on camera, what other people have seen in the videos that I've missed. The biggest, of course, being the video, you know, most of you have seen it. Over 1 million of you have. If you haven't, you got to go watch it. The one titled, he discovers the lair of Bigfoot Sasquatch, and it's made loud and clear he is not welcome. That was in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, October 19th, 2019, I believe. There are things living in the forests, in the fields, in the streams, in the meadows, in the mountains, in the plains, in the prairies, in the deserts of our world that we can't explain. Sometimes we catch it on film, sometimes we don't. But back to that video. I get chills thinking about it again because I never saw that thing until I went home, uploaded the video, published the video, and wonderful viewers like you pointed it out. I think the timestamp in that video, it's a long video. It's almost half an hour long, I think. I think it's 17 and a half minutes. But I feel that what we may or may not have captured on camera here in the mountains of Colorado is more related to that. Now, we look at these things, we don't see defined limbs, we don't see arms and legs, we kind of see forms and shapes, and sometimes there's a blur. It's like an energy. And I don't know, maybe there's not a name for these things, but maybe, potentially, him, her, it, or they, somebody commented on the video from yesterday here in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. They believe these things are shapeshifters. You know, where Native American Indian territory, originally the entire country was, they believed in these things. They had no problem accepting it, and that's probably because for centuries they saw them. But, you know, modern man being all logical and educated, if we can't, you know, explain it through logic or objectivism, as Ayn Rand might say, well, then we've got to say it's not real. Whatever. I'm not going back up there before I leave. All right, so there's number one. Number two, just talking about these things makes me want to look behind my shoulders. At least when I do, man, what a view. What a beautiful view. And look, I know that there's some of you who live out here in Colorado who probably know exactly where I am because you can tell by landmarks and whatnot. If you have any respect for these things, whatever they may or may not be, please don't give away this location. I'm not going to be here. By the time this video is uploaded and published to YouTube, my family is going to be hundreds of miles away from here, literally. It's called operational security, something I learned in the military and something I still practice. I'm not concerned about you coming here and finding us. I'm like, hey, we love your YouTube channel, okay? These things need to be respected as much as any other living creature, okay? Can we just simply leave it at that? Now, moving on, number 2, this trip. You guys have got to do it. And listen, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a lot of money. We're doing this on a shoestring. I'm going to tell you about some of the things I've learned on this trip so that you too can take a trip like this. And you don't have to go all the way across the country and back. Travel around your state. I mean, we've been through, of course, left Virginia, went through West by God, Virginia, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado. Today we'll go through Utah, potentially Arizona. Every state we've been in, and I've been in all states except 4. Arizona's 1, so today it's going to knock me down to 3, or tomorrow at the latest. They're all beautiful. If you live in Tennessee, there are places in your state you've never been that are within a day's drive away that you really need to go see. Now, let me tell you how to do it, okay? We're doing this on a shoestring just because that's kind of how we live our lives. We don't care about stuff. We're not materialistic. We enjoy experiences, okay? We enjoy the love we have for ourselves, this unconditional, non-toxic love our family has for each other, and we enjoy doing things together, and we enjoy going out and getting these experiences. This is how we're doing it. We're doing it in a tent, okay? We're not doing it in a $90,000 or $150,000 RV that we've mortgaged our house to the tilt to buy. We're doing it in a tent. It costs $150. It's a 10-person tent. I think it's Ozark Trail. I dearly bought it from Walmart.com. She bought all of our camping equipment. She's around here somewhere. I'm also looking for her. She's out doing a morning walk while she's drinking her coffee and whatnot. She was so excited when we started talking about doing this trip. She bought the tent. She spent maybe $300 on camping gear. Gas is high. There's no way around that. But listen, when you're tent camping, there are basically 3 places you can stay. You can stay at a state park or a national park, and there's some problems with that. And I'm going to tell you what those problems are here in just a second. I just found this out 2 days ago by talking to an owner of a private campground where we stayed. Okay, number 2, even though you're using a tent, you can stay at the KOAs. We stayed at a KOA in Lexington, Kentucky. That was our very first ever KOA experience. No, not Lexington, Louisville. If you've been following our trip, that's the time when we went to the Muhammad Ali Center with our friend Janice, who's stationed in Fort Knox. She drove up, I think it was like half an hour for her to join us in Louisville. The KOA, and they offer veterans discounts. We got the veteran discount. We stayed there. We only stayed there one night, but it was like $57. They have heated showers we used. They had flushing toilets we used. That one had a pool that we used. They had a basketball court with basketballs that we used and a bunch of other games. There were a ton of other campers there, and at first we were leery because there were so many people. There was a motorcycle group there called the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, CVMA. These are a bunch of veterans who get together. They support each other. You know, we've been through things a lot of other folks haven't, and I know those of you who have veterans envy will have to comment on that and say, my grandpa was in World War II and he never talked about it. I don't think you're really a veteran. Hey, kiss my ass. Enjoy your freedom. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Go to another channel. We do talk about it. And that's why these veterans groups are so important, because you can get together and talk about stuff with other veterans and not be judged for having done what we've done so that you didn't have to, okay? Now, I know not everybody's like that. Most people are supportive and respectful, and to you, we respect and support and are thankful to you. Now, I say that because I made that Neighbor in the Crayon video, and 50 million people said, how many times do you have to mention you're a veteran? I went back and watched that video when people kept saying that. I think I mentioned it twice in an 18-minute video. Dude, if you regret not having served, get over it. Nobody's judging you. Stop judging those of us who did. Okay, now, number 2. And you can also stay at private campgrounds that are not associated with the KOA. But those CVMA, I want to give them a shout out. Combat Veteran Motorcycle Associations. They get together and support each other, but they also find causes like maybe children's causes or elderly causes, somebody who has a need, and they go help those people. They're wonderful people. They're doing great things. So they served while they were in service, and they continue to serve now that they're out. We're at that KOA, and we thought, oh man, we're never going to get any sleep tonight. There's literally hundreds of other camping spots taken up. Everybody observed quiet time. Nobody, got drunk and obnoxious. Nobody was loud. There were no fights. We would have thought there at the KOA in Louisville, Kentucky, that we were the only campers there because everybody else was so respectful. Okay, and then thirdly, and this is how we've been doing it, and I'm going to tell you why too. Since then, there are privately owned campgrounds all across this country where you can get tent sites, get this, for less than $20. Seriously, we've got a stay coming up. We're taking our time getting there, but we are getting there by a specific date. We're staying somewhere for a few days. 3 days, tent site, $59 and change. They've got heated showers. They've got flushing toilets. They've got all kinds of amenities. You can't beat it. It's so cheap. There's no excuse to just not go get a tent if it's all you can afford. Buy a sleeping bag or take blankets and pillows from your house and go out there and see the world, or at least go out there and see your state. Pick a spot just a couple hours away and say, hey, let's go there. We've never been there. We've never seen it. We were talking to some folks last night. We're literally less than where we are right now. We are less than 7 hours away from the Grand Canyon. We were talking to some wonderful locals we met last night. They're like Dearly's age, mid-30s, and they had kids, and Daniel was playing with their kids. That's another thing, too. Daniel has not gotten bored once on this trip, and he's not at home at all playing his PS4. He's out here at these campgrounds playing with kids. Me and Dearly will be hanging out at the camp. He'll come running back to the camp. He goes, where's my football? Where's my football? like, I don't know why. He goes, I just met some new kids. I want to impress them, show them how far I can throw. I'm like, okay. He finds his football. He runs off and plays with these kids. Now, we're keeping an eye on him. He's within sight. Everything's safe. But here's my point. We told these folks that we were snaking our way slowly to the Grand Canyon. And this girl says, this woman, she goes, oh, wow, that sounds awesome. We've never been there. How can you live within 8 hours of one of the 7 wonders of the world and not go see it? And I'm not judging, but what I'm saying is, listen to yourself. You've never been there and you're less than a day's drive away? Folks, we're not promised tomorrow. And when we're lying on our deathbed, we're not going to regret the things that we did that maybe we wish we didn't. And Mark Twain said this. We're going to regret the things we didn't do. So let's get out there and do them. And those folks have RVs. Nice ones. Take that RV and go to the Grand Canyon. That would be my advice. Okay, now, I want to give you a heads up on a couple of things. You know, it's funny. I look behind my shoulder and people are like, why are you always looking behind your shoulder like a scared bunny rabbit? You're so paranoid. You need therapy. Hey, I get therapy. And just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean people aren't out to get me. But anyway, that's the third time I've looked over my shoulder. The first time, there was a man 50 yards away with a dog. The second time, there was a woman 40 yards away with a dog. And the third time just now, saw my beautiful bride Dearly coming up the trail. And when I looked back, she waved. It's called Spidey senses, brah. Some of us have them really in tune and some of you don't. Stop judging. All right, here's some things I've learned. My, how times have changed. Used to be, if you look something up on the internet, well, I'm going to use Motel 6 as an example because there were a couple of times on the way out here that we did stay in what we thought were cheap motels because I was just trying to book it to get out west as quickly as I could because it's so beautiful out here. It's beautiful everywhere. But Dearly and Daniel have never seen topography like this. So a couple of nights we stayed in cheap inns. Heads up, when we were in the Denver area, prices were high because it's Denver. It's expensive. We found a Motel 6. It was our last option because it was getting dark, and I don't drive after dark because if I'm driving after dark, I can't see this beauty. So the website said it was $74. We got there, it was $124. And I was like, your website says $74. And they looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. So you can't always trust that. Now, when we were in Denver, I was trying to make reservations for state parks for our next stop along the way. And all the ones I was looking for were booked. The ones I was looking at were booked. So there was an 800 number, so I called that, and just to talk to a person and say, hey, this is where we're going. Do you have anything close where we can stay on that route? Well, she looked and she looked. This was a lady up in Canada working for the Forest Service from the U.S. here. She said everything in the state of Colorado was booked for at least a couple weeks out. And she said they booked months in advance. So fortunately, we went back on the internet and we did find a private campground, and we're able to come here and stay for, like, this one I think is a little higher. Might have been $24 a night. Very inexpensive. Hot showers, flushing toilets, nice amenities. So I was talking to the owner of this campground, and I told him, about how happy we were to be able to get a spot here because all the state parks, national forest parks were booked. And he shook his head and he said, this is something they started doing about 2 years ago, and it's just screwing everybody. I was like, what do you mean? He explained it to me. Here's what's going on. I guess the Forest Service wanted to cut back on man and woman hours. Okay, so it used to be if you went to a state park, this is at least in Colorado, I don't know if it's nationwide, but you could roll up into a state park with your RV or with your tent or simply with your vehicle and say, hey, I want a camping spot for the night. And they'd say, okay, $8 or whatever is really cheap. And they'd say, this one's available or that one's available, go here, and you would do that. I remember doing that years ago. Well, now they don't have anybody at those parks. And you've got to reserve a spot online. There's a number you can call to reserve a spot if you want a spot. So the owner of the park here told me that what people are doing is they're reserving these spots so they can get them, but then half the people, literally half, if not more, don't go. Something comes up in their life. Maybe they can't get away from work. Maybe they didn't save enough money they had hoped to save to take their trip. Or maybe they just said, the heck with it. I don't really want to go out there and sleep in the woods and get bit by bugs and mosquitoes, etc., and they just don't show up. So here are these unmanned state parks that have maybe 50 tent sites or campsites that are fully booked, that those of us who are actually out there on the road can't get into because they've been reserved in advance, but 25 of them that night are empty. So we're stuck out here on the road trying to find a place to go. But I don't know, they're getting their money because you have to pay in advance, so I guess that's all they care about. And then there's all these empty campsites that nobody's using. So if you're going to do this kind of thing, understand, if you want to stay in a state park or national park, you really need to book well in advance. I recommend don't even do it. We're not even wasting our time. I'm not going to waste an hour of my life trying to get a site that I know that's probably booked that somebody's not going to use when I can go to the private campsite sector and just make one phone call, like I did when I reserved our next spot that we're going to stay here in a couple days away. We're going to stay in the same spot for a few days. Found the website, found them on the web, called the number, spoke to a wonderful young lady, got our site, less than $60 for a 3-night stay. Boom, we're done. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give you that heads up as well. So with all this said, if you missed the video from last night, go watch it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're planning this trip, I hope some of the information I gave you will help you. If you're not planning a trip like this, plan a trip like this. Again, you don't have to go all the way across the country and back. Find a place in your state where you've never been. Go stay in a tent for $20-ish a night. You don't need more stuff. Go out there and do more things. It's more fun. It's more memorable. See you next time for more.